The Golden State Warriors are entering the final stretch of the preseason, and with only 2 games left before the regular season tips off, the atmosphere around the team is filled with anticipation, uncertainty, and just a bit of urgency. One name in particular is drawing attention. Not Steph, not Draymond, not Clay, but Seth Curry. And no, he still hasn't made his debut for the Warriors this preseason, which is starting to raise some eyebrows. It's important to understand the context here. Seth isn't on a guaranteed deal. He's on what's called an Exhibit 9 contract, which basically means he's got a shot, but the odds are stacked against him unless something big happens, like a trade, an injury, or a sudden roster shakeup. And guess what? That something big might already be brewing. With Moses Moody now confirmed to miss the rest of the preseason due to a calf injury, the door is creaking open, just a little, for someone like Seth to sneak in and make his case. But here's the thing. He needs to play. With just 2 games left against the Trailblazers and the Clippers, time is running out. If Seth Curry is going to show the Warriors that he deserves a roster spot, he has to step on the court and make it count. Now, had he been available during that game against the Lakers, there's a strong argument to be made that Golden State might have pulled off the comeback. That run led by Draymond Green and the second unit in the late third and early fourth quarters had momentum, but it lacked one thing: a sniper. A guy who could stretch the floor and punish the defense from deep. And that's exactly what Seth brings. With Steph and Jimmy sitting out, the offense needed someone to fill that shooting void. Pods had a great night, no doubt. In fact, he was one of the biggest surprises of the evening. But adding Seth's shooting to that equation, that could have tilted the game in Golden State's favor. Speaking of Pods, his performance deserves a mention. For someone who's been questioned, not just for his comments about being the heir to Steph, Draymond, and Jimmy, but also for his actual production, Sunday's game was a statement. He showed poise, confidence, and actual impact, the kind that makes you pause and say, okay, maybe there's something here. If he keeps trending upward, the Warriors might have found a reliable piece for the future, even if the post-Curry era still looks cloudy. Back to Seth. His situation is tricky. The front office is in a bit of a bind. They don't just need to evaluate talent. They also have to juggle salary cap constraints, roster limitations, and long-term planning. But with Moody out, this could be the opportunity Seth's been waiting for. If he gets into the game against Portland and lights it up, say he drains 6 or 7 threes, it's going to be hard for the Warriors to ignore him. And let's be honest, keeping Seth around isn't just a basketball move. It's a chemistry move. It's a locker room move. It's a keep Steph happy move. And while nobody's building the roster around family ties, having another Curry around who can actually contribute, that's not a bad thing. Meanwhile, in a completely different lane, another name has entered the conversation: Timme. A bit under the radar, but very much a player worth talking about. He just became available in free agency, and while he's never been that top-tier draft prospect or an NBA headliner, what he's always been, is solid. He's dependable, he's tough, and he gets the job done. Last season, he was on a 2-way deal with the Brooklyn Nets, spent most of the year with the Long Island Nets, and made the most of his opportunities. When he got called up in March, he averaged somewhere around 11 points and 7 rebounds over 13 games. That's not superstar stuff, but it's the kind of consistency you want coming off your bench, especially in a long, grueling season. Now, Timme doesn't exactly fit the Warriors' offensive mold. He's not a stretch big, he's not going to space the floor with a deadly jumper, and he's not your modern, switch-everything type of defender. But he does bring toughness, rebounding, and a high basketball IQ. He was a super senior at Gonzaga, their all-time leading scorer, and someone known for putting the team first. Those are the kinds of intangibles that don't always show up on the stat sheet, but make a difference in the locker room and during the dog days of the season. And with the Warriors' front court being as thin as it is, basically Al Horford, Quinten and Draymond Green, it wouldn't hurt to add some insurance. Yes, Kuminga can play small ball 4 or 5 in stretches, but that can't be your plan A night in and night out. You need depth, and Timme offers that. Let's talk about Quinten for a moment. This is a guy trying to make a case for himself as a starting center in the league, and honestly, he's shown flashes. Against the Lakers, he hit 4 threes on 9 attempts, pretty solid for a big man. But that perimeter shooting can't come at the expense of interior presence. You still have to be a force in the paint, especially against elite bigs. And in that game, DeAndre Ayton made sure post felt his presence. The physicality and post dominance were clear, and it's that kind of matchup that exposes what post still needs to work on. The Warriors can't afford to get bullied inside, not if they want to compete at the highest level. Now looking ahead to the rematch against the Trailblazers, there's a lot on the line, even in the preseason. Last time out, the Warriors mounted an impressive comeback and took the win. But this Blazers team is no joke. They've got size, real size. Hanson Young and Donovan Clingan are both legit 7-footers. And while Young fouled out in their previous meeting, it looked more like a learning curve than anything else. Coming from the CBA to the NBA is a massive leap, and foul trouble early on is part of the adjustment. But don't expect him to keep making the same mistakes. And Clingan? This guy is physical, has a winning pedigree, and is projected to be part of Portland's next era. For Quinten Post, this is the kind of challenge that can define a player's preseason. So what's the plan? Ideally, Golden State jumps out to an early lead and never lets go. That's the dream. But this game isn't just about the final score. It's about seeing who steps up. Can Pods replicate what he did against the Lakers? Can Post hold his own in the paint against real size? And, most importantly, will Seth Curry finally take the floor and make his case? There's a scenario here where the Warriors finish the preseason 4-1, heading into opening night at the Crypto.com arena against the Lakers with real momentum. That kind of start doesn't just look good on paper. It sends a message. Winning in LA to kick off the season, especially after showing poise and strength in the preseason, sets a tone for what this team wants to be. But to get there, they need to close strong. That means beating Portland, handling the Clippers, and solidifying the roster. And let's not forget, decisions are coming. Hard ones. Two-way contracts, cuts, potential trades, open roster spots. These next 2 games could tip the scales for guys like Seth. Moody's injury adds an unexpected wrinkle, and the front office has to weigh short-term needs with long-term vision. Do you keep a sharpshooter like Seth who can space the floor while Moody recovers? Do you cut someone to make room? Or do you wait and try to sign him later on a prorated deal to save some money under the hard cap? And as the clock ticks down on the preseason, the pressure is only rising, not just for Seth Curry, but for the entire Golden State Warriors organization. These last 2 games aren't just glorified scrimmages anymore. They've turned into auditions, evaluations, and, most importantly, opportunities. Whether you're a young player trying to carve out your spot, a veteran fighting to stay relevant, or a front office executive looking to build the cleanest and most competitive 15-man roster possible, everything happening right now is being watched with sharp eyes and a tight budget in mind. Let's get back to Seth for a minute, because the implications of his situation go far beyond just whether or not he hits a few shots. If he performs well and proves he can contribute right away, the Warriors are going to have to get creative. With Moses Moody sidelined indefinitely, they can't afford to walk into opening night without an additional reliable shooter. It's not about favoritism or keeping Steph happy. It's about spacing, depth, and having someone on the floor who can stretch defenses and make the most of the second unit minutes. Seth's presence changes defensive schemes. It creates more room for guys like Kuminga to drive, for Draymond to facilitate, and for Pods to continue growing without all the pressure on his shoulders. But to make room for Seth, someone's got to go. And that's where things get complicated. You look at the current roster, and the options aren't exactly obvious. No one wants to part ways with young talent too early, and veterans often come with guaranteed contracts that are tough to just walk away from. So the front office has to weigh multiple variables at once. Contract flexibility, on-court fit, injury updates, and of course the long-term vision of what this team is going to look like not just this season, but 2 or 3 years down the line. That's where the debate gets intense. Do you cut someone outright? Do you attempt a late preseason trade to open up space? Or do you take the calculated risk of holding off on signing Seth until November, banking on the idea that he'll still be available and willing to take a prorated minimum deal? Those are the high-stakes conversations happening behind the scenes. And it's not just about Seth. Drew Timme is also now on the radar. And though he's not the headline name Warriors fans have been dreaming of His availability opens the door for more discussions about the depth of this frontcourt. With a rotation consisting of Al Horford, Draymond Green, and Quinten Post, there's very little margin for error. One injury, one off night, and the entire balance of the frontcourt can collapse. Having someone like Timme, who brings toughness, effort, and a steady post presence, could be invaluable over the course of an 82-game season, especially when you consider how physically demanding the Western Conference is when it comes to big men. Jokic, Sabonis, Ayton Adams. These aren't matchups you can finesse your way through. You need muscle, grit, and a willingness to fight in the paint every single night. Now, let's look at the bigger picture. The Warriors are no longer the youthful, up-and-coming squad they once were. This is a veteran team with title aspirations, but also one that's walking a tightrope between contending and rebuilding. The projected starting five, Steph Curry, Buddy Hield, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Al Horford, is filled with players all in their 30s. There's experience, leadership, and championship pedigree, no doubt. But there's also mileage, injury history, and the unavoidable ticking clock that comes with age in the NBA. That's why the performance of younger players like Pods, Kuminga, and even Post becomes crucial. The team needs those guys to not just develop, but contribute meaningfully this season. And that brings us back to tonight's game against the Blazers. This isn't just round two. It's a statement opportunity. Portland is coming in with size, youth, and hunger. Hanson Young and Donovan Clingan may still be raw in some areas, but they're 7-footers with length, energy, and something to prove. Clingan especially is no joke. He's already being touted as a foundational piece for the Blazers moving forward, and he brings the kind of physicality that's going to test anyone who steps into the paint. This is exactly the type of matchup the Warriors need to take seriously. Because if you can't dominate, or at least hold your own, against a team still figuring out their identity, you're going to have problems when the lights are brightest and the pressure is real. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. In what could be the shakeup of the NBA season, whispers from inside league circles suggest that Luka Doncic, the luminous star of the Los Angeles Lakers, might be packing his bags for the Golden State Warriors. Sources, speaking under the condition of anonymity, hint at a potential blockbuster move that would send shockwaves through the basketball world. Doncic, whose dazzling performances have carried the Lakers through highs and lows alike, has reportedly been eyeing a new challenge, and the Warriors, with their championship pedigree and superstar-laden roster, could be the perfect stage. The rumor mill started buzzing after Lakers insiders noted subtle tensions in team dynamics. While nothing official has been confirmed, whispers of Doncic's dissatisfaction with the Lakers' direction have fueled speculation. The Warriors, known for their high-octane offense and three-point brilliance, seem like an almost tailor-made fit for Doncic's versatile style. Analysts suggest that adding a player of Luka's caliber could transform Golden State from perennial contenders to outright favorites, potentially creating a super team capable of redefining the league hierarchy. Fans have taken to social media in droves, with hashtags already trending and memes flooding platforms, capturing the mix of excitement and disbelief at the possibility of seeing Doncic donning the blue and gold. Some insiders speculate that contract negotiations might already be underway, with front office whispers hinting at a trade package involving multiple draft picks and key Lakers contributors. While the Lakers have yet to issue any statement, sources say that management is bracing for a whirlwind should the transfer rumors solidify into reality. In the midst of this swirling speculation, the NBA world watches with bated breath. Will Luka leave Los Angeles behind for the West Coast splash? Or is this just another tantalizing tease from the rumor mill? Only time, and perhaps a surprise press release, will tell. Until then, the idea of Doncic weaving his magic alongside Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green is enough to send shivers down the spine of fans and rivals alike. The league could be on the brink of a seismic shift, and everyone is waiting to see if this rumor will transform into one of the most shocking trades in recent memory. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.